Well, greetings one and all. This is a very fun and exciting video to always film because of our anticipation for the biggest film night of the year, the Academy Awards. It's obviously very, very different this year because of some things that have been happening in the world. I don't know, what could it be? And it was obviously pushed back a couple of months. And so I think everyone at this stage, I mean, already when it's done at the end of February, I think a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, it's 2 months into the year, let's get going. But because it's the end of April, everyone is like, I don't give a crap about the awards anymore. Can we just move on? So I get it if people aren't really caring anymore, but I still like to do this because it's fun. So I'm just going to give my quick thoughts about what I think is going to win tomorrow. Again, this is my thoughts about what is I think going to win, not what I want to win or what I thought should have been nominated. Those are videos for further back in the year. We have what we have. I think that the majority of the nominations this year are deserving. I don't think overall it was definitely as strong of a year as it has been in previous years due to everything that's happened with the pandemic and all that. But I still think overall we got a lot of good quality films. So yeah, this will be exciting. Get your Oscar ballot ready if you have one, and let me know if you've seen any of these films below, which one's your favorite. Give me your thoughts and predictions. And tomorrow is the big day. And I will be doing a live stream tomorrow at around 4:30 or so, or 5 o'clock, just before the ceremony starts. The ceremony starts at 5. And then I normally it's like a good 3 hours. I do not anticipate it being anything close to that this year due to the fact that it's very different with where they're doing it. They're doing it at Union Station. Most of it is not going to be through Zoom, which I'm very excited about, but I still just think that with the way they're doing it this year, it's not going to be near as long normally as what it normally is. Because seriously, last year I think it was like 3.5 hours, and I literally will like place $100 on the fact that that's not going to happen. So anyways, here we go. As usual, these first three categories are always very pointless, I find, because I have not seen documentary, short subject, short film, live action, or short film animated. I don't see these movies. I will say that some of the titles this year kind of get me interested, but I'm not going to see these movies. I'm always like, I'm going to check these movies out. And this year, I'm like, you're not going to do it, Darren. It's never going to happen. And, roll with it. So for short film animated, apparently the big favorite, this is one where when I checked on Gold Derby, that there's no chance really that anything else is going to win except for If Anything Happens, I Love You, which I was like, oh, that's a sweet title. Apparently, there's a slight chance that Burrow wins, but overall, it's If Anything Happens, I Love You. And I'm like, okay, that sounds good. Short film live action, I think, is probably going to be Two Distant Strangers. Is probably going to be Two Distant Strangers, is what, again, Gold Derby is saying. This one, I think I actually took the slightly underdog one. I think number one is called The Letter Room, which the reason I like to do that is I occasionally like to kind of just change things up a bit because I find if I always go in these categories with the number one that Gold Derby has, there's bound to be an upset somewhere. So I was just like, sure, I'll go with, and it's not really an upset. It's still the number two one that they have, but I'm like, okay, sure, I'll do that. So I went with Two Distant Strangers, but if you go with The Letter Room, that very well could win too. If you go with anything else, I don't think that's going to happen, but we'll see. And then for documentary short subject, we have a love song for Latasha that is supposed to be winning. The one that I kind of hope wins simply because I love the name is A Concerto is a Conversation, which is a big classical music buff. I was like, oh, that sounds awesome. And it is apparently number two, but the favorite is still a love song for Natasha. So I was like, okay, I'll go with that. But if A Concerto is a Conversation wins, I'll be like, yeah, it's awesome, even though I'll be losing my Oscar pool. Yeah, so those are the three. Short film animated, If Anything Happens, I Love You. Short film live action, Two Distant Strangers. And documentary short subject, A Love Song for Natasha. We will see if any of these happens. Maybe I'll come back the day after and be like, guys, I got none of them right. Or maybe I'll say I got all of them right. You never know. Okay, so starting from the bottom here for visual effects. This is one that kind of throughout the whole season has been between two. It's been between Tenet and The Midnight Sky. The other ones, I still haven't seen Love and Monsters, but I hear actually it's like a good, enjoyable movie. It has like in the 90s on Rotten Tomatoes, which again isn't it's just the percentage of critics that gave it a positive review. But still, that's really impressive. So I'm excited to see that one. I know a lot of people really didn't like Mulan. I actually thought it was quite enjoyable. I just thought I liked it because I thought it was very different than a lot of their live action films that they've done, where I felt like they've just copied the exact same movie, which I just don't like. But the one thing that even if I know there's a lot of haters out there, even if you hated that movie, you have to admit that Mulan looked gorgeous. If you don't, I mean, I'm not going to say you're like dumb or something, but I do not understand what you're talking about. So I personally honestly think that out of all these, I might go with Mulan. Like if I was voting for what I wanted to win, but again, we're not doing that. So I'm going to go with Tenet, but there is the potential spoiler for The Midnight Sky because Tenet basically got shut out of everything else, which makes sense because I think it's kind of generally regarded as Nolan's weakest film. I still thought it was quite good, but there's no question that it's not as good as his other a lot of his other movies. And so I just don't want to go against Nolan because I feel like that might be their way of going, you know what, your movie wasn't as good as it normally is, Mr. Nolan, but your visual effects were good, so there you go. And I think The Midnight Sky just not a lot of people have seen. So we shall see what happens, but I'm going with Tenet for visual effects. If you go with anything other than Tenet or The Midnight Sky, you are a fool and it will not happen. So yeah. For film editing is the next one that I have. I'm going by the Rotten Tomatoes Oscars ballot that I printed off. I find that the way they do this is very weird because, in my opinion, to have film editing after visual effects makes no sense. Film editing is like, other than like picture and actor and screenplay, I would say film editing and cinematography are the two biggest awards of the nights. So I don't really understand, but this is what they have next. So for film editing, I'm going to be going with Sound of Metal. That has basically been cleaning up all the awards, all the other awards shows. The Trial of the Chicago 7 definitely is a potential spoiler, but there's some people that are like, oh no, the Trial of the Chicago 7 is going to win. And I'm like, I don't think so. I'm not saying that if it happens, I would be shocked, but I really think that film kind of dipped, like it peaked early and now it's just like, it's really gone down. Again, I very much thought it was a great movie. I'm not saying it's perfect or a masterpiece or anything like that, but I did think that it was great. But I know that just like Tenet, there is a lot of people that were like, "Oh, I didn't like that movie." So I'm going to go with Sound of Metal. But like I said, if the Trial of the Chicago 7 takes it, I won't be shocked. But I think Sound of Metal for film editing is a pretty good bet. For production design, Mank, it's winning the award. It's won every single award ever. I don't even have a number two. If Mank doesn't win, I will literally I don't even know what I'm going to do. Mank is going to win production design and should win production design. I think Mank should basically win everything that it's in because that was my favorite movie of this year. And I think that it's amazing. I know that that is a movie that a lot of people didn't care for because it was very old-timey Hollywood. It was kind of inside baseball, but you know what? I love those kind of movies. I'm the hugest fan of like 1930s, 40s, old-timey Hollywood. I love that era. And so I was in love with it. I don't think it's Fincher's like absolute best movie. I think that The Social Network is definitely better. I think that Zodiac is probably slightly better. Gone Girl, I might even say is better. And so like there's movies that I think are better, but I still thought that it was amazing. And the production design, I mean, it looked like that movie was shot in the 30s and it looked like it was the 30s. So that should win. And if you choose anything other than Mank for production design, God help you. Okay, for cinematography, we have Nomadland. Yet again, there's nothing else winning. Apparently, because Mank just won the ACE award, which is like the cinematography's branch, and it's their biggest award. Mank just won it. And so there's a little bit of like, if before it was like 100% Nomadland is winning, now people are like, oh, like maybe it's like 93% that Nomadland is winning, but Nomadland is still winning this award. If Mank won, I can't say now that I would be absolutely shocked considering that it just won ACE, but I still think that there's basically no chance that that Mank wins. I think Nomadland 95% is winning this award. So if you want to really go far, you can do Mank, but I think you're not gonna win. I would love it if Mank won, but also the cinematography in Nomadland, even though that is a movie that I much more respected than flat out loved, this like Nomadland looked gorgeous. So if it wins, I'm not going to be like, no, I'm going to be like, yep, that makes sense. So yeah, Nomadland for cinematography, I think it's going to happen. For costume design, this is one where, again, I personally would have gone with Emma because I, first of all, really, really enjoyed that movie. And I think the costumes in any of those period pieces, I'm always a sucker for. But it's going to be Ma Rainey's Black Bottom that wins this award. It's been basically winning all of them. And I don't have a problem with that. I haven't seen Ma Rainey's Black Bottom yet, actually. But from what I've seen of the trailers and stuff like that, it definitely looks like it's pretty great costume. So if and when it wins, I won't have a problem with that. I don't really think you should go with Emma. I think that is kind of like cinematography. I think there's like a 5% chance that Emma wins, but I think Ma Rainey's Black Bottom is going to take it. For makeup and hairstyling, again, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, 95%. There's a small chance that Hillbilly Elegy might take it, but that's like, again, 5%. So 95% Ma Rainey's Black Bottom's taking makeup and hairstyling. And just from the trailers alone, I can tell, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, Emma as well is a very good contender. I haven't seen Hillbilly Elegy yet, but it does have some good makeup. And even Mank, I thought was great makeup. Pinocchio, I haven't seen either. So all of them are really good in this category, but Ma Rainey's Black Bottom is going to take this one. Sound. Sound of Metal is winning the award. There's no question. If you pick anything other than Sound of Metal in the category of sound, you will lose. So just don't do it. That's all that's won any of the sound categories. I'm very happy that they decided to merge sound editing and sound mixing together. I just think that I understand that sound editing and sound mixing are two different things. The one is how the sound is actually created, and the other one then is how the sound is kind of done throughout the movie. So I get that they're different things, but at the same time, I'm like, you know what? The only people that really care about that are the people that are in the sound branch. So while I'm not saying they don't deserve their awards, I'm like, okay, but you still get your award here. Like it's just one category instead of two. So I'm really happy that they decided to do sound as one category, and Sound of Metal is winning. Again, if you choose anything other than Sound of Metal, you are a fool. So that's winning. Original song. Speak Now from One Night in Miami is the pretty clear favorite. Again, there's a bigger chance maybe that I don't know how to pronounce the name. Husavik, I believe, from Eurovision Song might win. I saw that movie, and I have to admit, I liked it more than I was expecting. In that, I was expecting to be like, I don't really like it, and I ended up walking away, kind of going, okay, like it wasn't anything special, and really the only actual memorable thing was that final song. The rest of the movie wasn't bad, but that was the one moment in the film where I was like, okay, that's a really good number. And because it's an actual legit musical, sometimes the Academy likes to award the like actual musical with the award. But I just think that since One Night in Miami, I think that's the only award it's going to get. I think they're not going to pass up the chance to award it with Speak Now, and it is a great song. So I think Speak Now is going to win original song. If you choose Husavik or whatever, I don't think you're going to win, but okay. But yeah, go with Speak Now. For original score, you have Soul is absolutely winning. There's no question about that. Again, I personally, my favorite score of the year is Mank, but again, that's just because I think basically everything about Mank is the best of this year. But considering that Soul is literally done by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, just like Mank is, I actually thought that was kind of hilarious. And that is also a beautiful score. Again, I'm a little bit bummed that some of Michael Giacchino's other work that he did with Pete Docter is not winning, like Inside Out. I thought that was a gorgeous score, and it wasn't even nominated. So don't get me wrong, I'm a little bit upset with like, you know, what hasn't happened before. But for this year, Soul is a beautiful score. And when it wins, it's not a question of if, it's a question of when. When it wins tomorrow, I won't have a real big problem. I also love the score for Tenet, but it wasn't nominated, so can't talk about that. For international feature film, another round. It's winning the award. Again, most of these this year, because of the way the year shook out, are very, very like certain. There's only a few of the bigger ones that are a little bit less likely, but international feature film, Another Round is winning. There's no question. Quo Vadis Aida is a movie that apparently is like supposed to be amazing, but it came out way too late, I think, and just it doesn't have the momentum that Another Round has gotten. If Another Round wasn't here, Quo Vadis or whatever would be winning this award 100%, but Another Round is here, so there's no question. Another Round is winning. I have seen, that's the only one out of these international features that I've seen, and Another Round is excellent. Mads Mikkelsen is, such a great actor, and I think it's deserving. I think it's a great movie. For documentary feature, this is another one that is pretty locked up. My Octopus Teacher, that's going to win. If there is an upset, it will be Crip Camp, but I think that is again like a 10-15% chance. I think My Octopus Teacher is going to win. I haven't seen any of these. No, it's not true. I saw Time, and Time was really, really great. If you haven't seen Time, go watch it. It's an amazing one. I think it's available on Amazon Prime. But other than that, I haven't seen any of these, but I hear that My Octopus Teacher is a good one, and I can't really comment on it. But yeah, My Octopus Teacher is winning this award, and that's all there is to say. For animated feature, of course, what else would it be other than Soul? Soul is winning this award. There's absolutely zero question. My favorite animated feature from last year is Wolfwalkers, but there's no chance that Wolfwalkers is going to win. It's too obscure. Not enough people saw it, and it's just not going to happen. That would be the upset if there was one, but again, it's like a 2% chance. So Soul is winning, and it is a great animated feature. I know everyone out there loves it. Of course, I get it. It's Pixar, and it'll be a good winner if it wins. Okay, we are now down to the big eight, ladies and gentlemen, or the big six. No, the big eight. So for adapted screenplay, we have Nomadland winning. Again, I think that there's a 20% chance that The Father maybe ekes out a victory. I would love it if that happened because I think The Father is a absolutely beautiful, beautiful movie. But I think Nomadland is going to do it. If I'm wrong, this is one of those ones where even if I'm wrong and my Oscar pool then gets, worse, I will love that I'm wrong because I just think the script in The Father was better than Nomadland. First of all, I think Nomadland, so much of it was improvised and was kind of done on the spot, which I'm not saying is bad. I'm not saying it doesn't make it still a good script. But when I think about writing, The Father just is more the kind of writer's movie that I think of. So I think The Father is winning. Or pardon me, I think Nomadland is winning, but I think The Father is the kind of movie that should win. But I think that chance of happening is a bit bigger than some of these other categories, but it's still only like 20%. So if you pick The Father, it's going to be pretty great if it wins, because I don't think it has much of a chance, but we shall see. For original screenplay, we have Promising Young Woman. That is a film that I just saw a couple of weeks ago, and it was not overhyped for me. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Carey Mulligan, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, was un-effing believable. And yeah, so Promising Young Woman is winning this award. Apparently, there are still people saying that The Trial of the Chicago 7 could win it because it was expected to win a lot of other awards initially, and now it's basically going to win nothing. And so people are kind of like, well, I think the Academy is going to want to give The Trial at least one win. And I'm like, I mean, I understand that kind of, but I just think that it's still just taken far too much of a dive, whereas Promising Young Woman, ever since it came out, has stayed pretty consistent. So I won't be like shocked if The Trial of the Chicago 7 wins, but I still think Promising Young Woman is winning. If it doesn't and The Trial of the Chicago 7 wins, I won't be like horrifically disappointed because I did think The Trial of the Chicago 7 was great and Aaron Sorkin's dialogue is always terrific. But I just think Promising Young Woman was more daring and it was a bit more original, to use the phrase there. And I would vote for it. So I hope it wins, and that's what I believe will win, is Promising Young Woman. Okay, getting into the actor categories, ladies and gentlemen. Actor in a supporting role. This is the Daniel Kaluuya Award. There is no one else that will win this award. Take your house and bet $1 million on it and make me pay it if he doesn't win, okay? Daniel Kaluuya is absolutely winning this award for Judas and the Black Messiah. There is no one else. You know, people say Leslie Odom Jr. in One Night in Miami is an upset. And I'm like, no, he's not. If by upset you mean that he has a 1% chance, sure, he's an upset, but it's not going to happen. Daniel Kaluuya is winning this award. And if you choose anything else, like I've said many times in this video, God help you, because it's not going to happen. So yeah, actor in supporting role, Daniel Kaluuya. Actress in a supporting role, thank goodness it has changed in the last couple of months, because up until a couple of months ago, a lot of people were predicting that actually Maria Bakalova was going to win this award. And look, I'm not going to get into it now. I think that for what she was given to do, she was definitely pretty great, but I just don't really like the movie. I think that there's a lot of problems with it. The original, I think, was back in 2006 was pretty amazing. I think that's one of the most original and daring comedies of the 2000s. But I just thought this one just didn't. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be and what I wanted. So again, Maria Bakalova, there's no question that her acting talent is very good. It's just for a movie that I'm very much not on board with. So I love the fact that Yoon Jun, I don't know how to say her name, but the actress from Minari, she is going to be winning this award. I think it's pretty much a lock at this point. If Maria Bakalova actually comes out and wins it, again, I won't be like shocked, but it would be a pretty big surprise. It would be a pretty big surprise, and I really hope it doesn't happen. In my mind, actually, Amanda Seyfried should win this award for Mank. I thought that she was exquisite, but she kind of, again, like Mank in other categories, peaked early, because for a while she was going to win this award. People are like, oh, it's done. Amanda Seyfried has won this award. And then literally people saw it and people were like, oh, it's boring and it's not as much. And I was like, what are you talking about? It's not at all. It's so, so great. But it kind of peaked early. And so I think that she has no chance. But yeah, the actress from Minari is winning this award. I just saw Minari last week, and I think it's absolutely a beautiful film, and she is so, so good in it. So when she wins this award, no qualms here. Absolutely no qualms here. Okay, the two big actor performances of the night, ladies and gentlemen, actor in a leading role and actress in a leading role. Okay, well, I'm going to go with actor in a leading role because it's a much surer thing. Up until last week, or when were the BAFTAs? Last week or the week before? Anyway, up until a couple of weeks ago, had you said that there was anyone other than Chadwick Boseman winning this award, I would have literally like called you crazy and said, "What have you been smoking?" But because Anthony Hopkins won the BAFTA, and also because of the rumblings that I've been hearing and just kind of the build, it seems, that Anthony Hopkins has been gaining, I think that there is a little chance that Anthony Hopkins could maybe take this from Chadwick Boseman. Again, I'm not going, people make it seem now as if like it's a 50-50 race. I do not think it's a 50-50 race. I still think like 80%, maybe even 90%, this is Chadwick Boseman's. But I really hope that Anthony Hopkins wins. Now, granted, I haven't seen Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, so I don't want to, say that he doesn't deserve it at all. But I just thought Anthony Hopkins was such an amazing career-defining performance in The Father that even though I'm sure Chadwick Boseman is great because he's a great actor and it's very sad what happened to him, I do think some of this is to do with the fact that they're honoring Chadwick's legacy as an actor, which I'm not saying is bad necessarily, but technically the Academy Awards are supposed to be for the best performance and not like the performance that you want to honor because of a legacy. And so if I was voting, I'm 99.9% positive that even after seeing Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, I would still be voting for Anthony Hopkins. So I mean, I like I said, if you do vote Anthony Hopkins, I wouldn't call you crazy, but I would say you're still taking a real big leap of faith there. I think it's pretty clearly going to be Chadwick Boseman for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, but I hope I'm proven wrong. I hope Anthony Hopkins comes in there, but I don't think it's going to happen. Okay, for actress in a leading role, oh, I have no idea. This is one of the most coin toss categories. in, I think, many years, if I'm being honest, because at the beginning of the season, it was pretty clear that it was going to be Frances McDormand. Everyone was like, oh, yeah, she's winning her third Oscar. She's amazing. It's done. Then Carey Mulligan came out for Promising Young Woman, and that movie gained so much momentum that people are like, oh, she's winning. It's done. It's over. But then she wasn't even nominated for the BAFTAs, which is where most people thought she was going to win. And they're like, oh, okay, well, that's weird. And then Viola Davis ended up winning the SAG Award about whatever 2-3 weeks ago, and that was the one when Viola Davis won. People are like, "Oh my gosh!" So now it's not just Carey Mulligan and Frances McDormand in the mix; it's Viola Davis too, because the SAG Award is kind of the most prestigious award when it comes to acting. Most people now seem to be going with Viola Davis as the front runner to win. I think that's very possible, but I'm still going to go with Carey Mulligan because I just am crossing my fingers and hoping that it happens. I think that she is the most in the movie out of any of these actresses. Viola Davis is only in the movie for like, I don't know, I think like 25 minutes or something. And Frances McDormand is definitely in the movie. I guess she's in the movie almost as much as Carey Mulligan is in Promising Young Woman, but I still think Promising Young Woman is about Carrie Underwood's character, whereas Nomadland is about Frances McDormand's character, but it's also about the stuff surrounding her and how she deals with the adapting circumstances, whereas I just didn't feel that for Promising Young Woman. So I really hope it goes to Carey Mulligan. I think maybe it will, but if Viola Davis wins it, this will be one where if Viola Davis wins it, I'm not going to be shocked at all. As a matter of fact, I'll probably be like, yeah, that makes sense. If Frances McDormand wins it, I still won't be shocked, but I'll be a little bit more surprised simply because I feel like her performance, not the movie, but her performance has kind of like not gone down because people don't like it as much, but just people have kind of, I think, forgotten about it over the last couple of months. So I won't be shocked if she wins, but I will definitely be more surprised than if Viola Davis wins it. If Viola Davis wins it over Carey Mulligan, there will be no surprise. If Frances McDormand wins it over Carey Mulligan, I will be a little bit like, wow, okay. So, but anyways, I'm going with Carey Mulligan. If you go with Viola Davis, that's a great choice as well and just as likely to win. If you go with Frances McDormand, I think there is a chance, but I still think you're better to go with either Carey Mulligan or Viola Davis. But we will see what happens. This is the biggest, like, nail-biting moment of the night, and boy, when that moment comes, it's going to be something to see. Okay, Best Picture and Best Director. These are going to Nomadland. Both of them. There's no question. I don't know why we have to even discuss anymore. Directing especially, it's like 99.99999% going to Chloe Zhao for Nomadland. If it goes to anyone else, it will be one of the biggest upsets in the history of the Academy Awards. Seriously. So that, good for you, Thomas Vinterberg, David Fincher, Lee Isaac Chung, and Emerald Fennell, but, you're not winning. I personally would have loved to have seen David Fincher finally win his Best Director Oscar for this movie because I just think it's the kind of Hollywood movie that normally wins Academy Awards. But for whatever reason, the Academy just wasn't. They were behind it in regards to nominations because it got 11 nominations, the leading amount. But it just didn't hit people the way that it hit me, I guess. And there's no chance. No one else is winning Chloe Zhao for directing. In Best Picture, I will say there is a 5% chance that something upsets. What? I don't really know. I used to think that if anything was going to upset Nomadland, it would be the Trial of the Chicago 7, no question, done. But now I kind of feel like Promising Young Woman and Minari have just as much of a shot as the Trial of the Chicago 7. So again, 95% this is going to Nomadland. But if someone said, okay, but what if I told you that I could see into the future and tomorrow Nomadland doesn't win? I would probably still go with the Trial of the Chicago 7, but Promising Young Woman and Minari, I think, have just as much of a shot of like between those three movies. I think it's a coin toss, but really none of those movies matter because 95% Nomadland is winning, and if you put anything other than Nomadland, I'm basically going to call you crazy. If you put anything other than Chloe Zhao in directing, you are an insane person and you need help. But if you put anything other than Nomadland in picture, I won't like, knock you upside the head, but I'm still going to be like, what are you doing? So, I mean, if I come here like on Monday to recap the Oscars and they honestly gave it to something other than Nomadland for Best Picture, I literally will be here like just going like I just like I won't be able to deal with it. But yeah, I'm going with Nomadland for Best Picture. Um, I think I have Nomadland winning 4 Academy Awards, and then Ma Rainey's Black Bottom winning 2 or 3. I have Sound of Metal winning 2. I have Soul winning 2 for animated feature and song, and then I think those are the only ones that I have winning multiples, I believe. But oh no, Promising Young Woman. I have it winning screenplay and actress. So I will say that this is a year where really they're going to be divvying up a lot of the love. I mean, I know that technically if Nomadland wins 4, that will still be a leading, but not like anything we've seen before. Like some years, like movies win like 6 or 7 Academy Awards, and there's none of these movies are going to win 6 or 7. There's no chance. So look, do I think Nomadland is the best movie of the year? No, I mean, it's definitely the best reviewed film of the year. It has like 94 on Metacritic, and it's in the 90s on Rotten Tomatoes with an almost 9 out of 10 average rating. So there's no question that it's the most acclaimed film by critics of the year. I don't personally think it's the best film of the year, but I understand why people love it. Again, I greatly admired it and respected it and got it. I just it didn't move me the way that I wanted it to. And I mean, I hate using this word because it's such a sting word that I'm just, when people use it with me, I'm like, oh my gosh, but I do have to say, I think it was slightly overrated. And I don't mean it in like oh, that movie was overrated. I just mean that for what it was said to be, I don't think it was quite that, but it was still a great movie. And if it wins, okay, I still would have loved to have seen Greta Gerwig win Best Picture and Best Director for either Lady Bird or Little Women in 2019, because in my mind, both of those movies are better than the movies that Chloe Zhao has directed. I did adore The Rider from 2018, and I did think it was like a masterpiece. But even putting that one up to Greta Gerwig's 2 movies, I still wouldn't take it. And the reason some of you might be saying, why are you mentioning Greta Gerwig? It's just because that Greta Gerwig, I think it would have been, for me, it would have been special to have seen her become the second woman to win Best Director, because Chloe Zhao, when she wins Director tomorrow, she's going to become the second woman after only Catherine Bigelow for The Hurt Locker. And I just think it would have been great to have seen Greta Gerwig kind of get that great moment. But she's going to win one year. I have no doubt that Greta Gerwig, because she's like one of the best directors in the world right now, she's going to win one year. It's just going to take longer for her. And Chloe Zhao, who knows? Maybe she's going to be one of those directors that peaks in regards to Academy standards, peaks early and wins this year and then never wins again. For the rest of her career. I'm not saying that'll happen, but it's happened before where literally a director goes on to have an amazing career filled with, crowd pleasers and great movies and maybe is nominated a bunch more times, but never wins again. And if that's the case, well, then, good for her for getting it now. So anyways, guys, those are my predictions for the 93rd Academy Awards. Let me know, again, what you guys think and what your predictions are. Like I said, I will be doing my live stream tomorrow starting around 4:30, 4:45. I don't expect the ceremony to be near as long as it normally is. As I said, I think it'll be 2 hours maximum, but we shall see. And yeah, happy Oscars. We'll see how everyone's Oscar pools went. I have a feeling I normally have gotten kind of about in the high 70s out of the percentages of things that I picked. So I'm hoping maybe I can hit 80% this year. We'll see. Maybe this will be the year that I only get 60%. But I'm hoping that I get 80% or more, but we shall see. So thanks so much for watching, guys, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye for now.